Oh, I think it's on now.
Okay, fabulous. All right, welcome everyone. My name is Patsy Ferguson. I'm the editor-in-chief of Fourth Wave.
Okay, hello. My name is Esther Wana Ede.
Now,
I'm a writer and also an editor at Wave. So, morning.
Hello, my name is Muniba Kasi.
this is a series that where we come together with women from around the world to talk about issues that matter, and we usually focus on a story um, that has been published on Fourth Wave. I'm a little discombobulated because I can't see it quite the way I want to, but I guess it's all right. Um, anyway, I wrote a story called "Is Someone Touching You in a Way You Don't Like," which was meant to be read by young people because I'm very interested in the issue of child abuse and child molestation. Um, so I wrote this story and I talked about things that children could do, information I wanted them to have if someone was touching them or molesting them. Um, and I showed it to a friend of mine who actually was molested when she was a child by her father. I mean, by her stepfather. Um, and she said, "Well, this isn't very good because no child's going to read this in the first place, and in the second place, no child's going to call a government agency to report or call the police to report their father or their grandfather, whoever." So I asked her, "Well, what would you tell a person? What would you want to tell your younger self if you could speak to her? What would be helpful for her to hear?" And she thought about that, and she came up with two key things. The first being that it's not your fault. That was the first thing that she thought a child should hear, because I believe a lot of children imagine that they have brought it on, or they're told this by someone abusing them, and they believe it, or or they're told it by anyone aware of what's happening, that it's their fault. Just like a rape victim is told it's their fault, they brought it on. So her first message was, "It's not your fault." And her second message was to tell someone. But what she suggested was, in her case, she should have told her mother. And she felt that possibly her mother would have helped her. She wasn't sure, but hopefully she was hoping that that might happen. Um, and those were her two messages. So anyway, I did some research in the course of writing that story, and it was interesting to me that actually the rate in the United States is higher than in the world. In the US, it's 1 in 4. It's 25%. No, no, no. I'm sorry. It's, yeah, 1 in 4, 25% of women are molested as children. So it's a huge number. And it's also huge worldwide, but it's 1 in 5. It's 20% of women. And there are also a lot of boys. There, worldwide, the number is 1 out of 7, which is 15% of boys. So it is a plague, and I'm just wondering if you have any ideas of how to stop it, what we can do to change this situation. What do you think causes it? So I'd love to hear from you. And I just also want to mention our colleague Mona went on a road trip and her car broke down. And so she is not near good internet, and that's why she's not here. And we also invited supposedly a fifth, but she's not here either, and I'm not sure why. So perhaps someone will join us later. It might be a time mix-up. I don't know. But let me pass it over and see if you have any thoughts on this matter. How prevalent do you think it is in your country, and what do you think can be done about it?
It's quite prevalent in my country too. I don't have the exact stats, but like there's always something in the news about a child being molested. The most recent one is a 6-month-old child, and she lost her life. I think it was her dad. So it's also quite prevalent in the country. And honestly, I would have said, okay, I think the generic advice, or the most reasonable advice, is to educate kids on, like, try to educate them on like good touch, bad touch. Like if somebody is touching you, like where it's like bad touch, like where you should not be touched, you should tell an adult. But in the case of a 6-month-old, like a 6-month-old cannot talk. And not like not every child is very verbal. So I honestly have no idea. When a case where they can't talk, obviously you should tell a trusted adult. When I was the one hosting the live stream, I told the story of Ochanya. That this young girl who was being raped by both her cousin and her uncle. And she was staying with the family, and everybody knew what was going on. She was first being raped by a cousin, and the cousin's sister, that's also a cousin, but the female cousin, caught her brother raping this little girl, reported to the father, and the father also joined. So in that kind of situation, like everybody is aware of what is going on in the house. So like, who would she run to? Obviously, like outsiders, but I don't know. It's just a situation all around. It's very prevalent here, and I have no idea. Everybody's I have no idea what.
That's I remember you telling that story, and that's really upsetting when it's a baby. Oh, it's upsetting in all cases, but it's hard to believe and understand. What are you thinking, Muniba?
Here in Pakistan, there are like every other women is being molested at any level of age and this and that. No one is safe. Like if she is little kid. Recently, I watched a video on Facebook. A little girl was cycling in our street, and there come a man and he kissed her in her mouth. Very bad manner, and she started crying. It was shown on CCTV footage. Children can't play outside the street. Like it's so scary that we can't let children play on our like street, like someone like in countries where it is safe. I think it's not our country. It's like scary everywhere. Recently, I read an article about this by Velma G. Did you read? Anyone read it about it?
I didn't.
It was about what is it grown men lusting after girls.
Oh, I did read that one. Yes.
Yes, it's a very good one. And when I consider myself, when someone picked my daughter up, and I don't know if is my trusted one, but I don't trust him or her. Like, I don't want it to be something bad for my kid. Like, I'm watching her like 3 to 5 times. Like, what is she doing? What is he doing to her? Like this. Like, I'm a bit of paranoid because of all these stories and these things. And I think before bad touch and good touch, like Esther said, we have to be, as a mother and father, we have to be careful in very little things like this, like looking after them. And my one auntie said, remember one thing, don't ever change your kids' clothes or diaper in front of anyone. Tell them that this is private thing. Like, respect her. Like, we also did this type of thing. Like, they start changing them in front of relatives. Like, I give you, put on shirt and like this. Like, tell them that this is private thing. This is private. This is like something only your mother. Like, we do it like from very small age, like this, change diapers, or don't other people to change their diapers. Like, start will change. Like, these things are very. I don't know if it is, but I think I'm going to do this for her. Let's hope it's good for her, I think.
Yeah, I don't know either, because on the other hand, you don't want to teach the child that sexuality is bad or that their sexual parts are bad. So it's so confusing. And also,
Yes,
I
it
mean,
is.
and although we do definitely want to, I feel we want to empower children, especially girl children, um, to be in charge of their bodies, and but also, it's just like with rape. The change really has to come from the male population. And I was very interested in a meme that you wrote about recently, Mooney, where
Ah,
I'm not sure if it happens so much in child molestation, but in rape, they'll say, "Oh, I couldn't help myself. I was just so sexually attracted to her, I had to rape her." But Moni wrote about a trend where they, could you tell us about it, Moni? What was it?
yes, it is some trend. I love it that they give their pets their favorite treat and said no, and they stop and they are looking at this. And one of this was like dog saliva was like dripping out of her mouth because of he was so fascinated by it, but he was not touching it. And then when she said yes, and he did. Like, I loved it. When animals understand that no means no, then why can't man? Why? Like, it is so. And sad thing is, when I wrote this article, someone did a comment that, oh, you want men to be your pet or something. It was so like these type of things are like, what are you saying, what are you doing? Like, something is wrong with everyone mentality, that we don't want to be you to be our pets, but only understand that no means no. And when we said yes, it is also like people said that women are very, very complicated, and their no means something else, and their yes means something else. But this is not true. No means no, and yes means yes. Simple as that. But they don't understand these things. And in this trend, many people also said that these pets are trained because of this. They do things like that. They are trained to do that. Okay, so many people again commit, and I also think that if they are trained, train yourself too, train your mindset too. But there is another trend where when mother put toddler like 1 year or so and did this trend to them, and they did this too. Then when mother said no, and they stopped. Like if children and animals can do this, why can't man? I don't know. I don't understand about it.
Well, it has to be really the culture of entitlement, right? The idea that men are kind of trained that you get what you want. You get to have what you want.
Yes.
And other
Yes,
people are
they
here to
trained like
serve
this.
you. You're not here to serve anyone else. You're not here to consider someone else's opinion or
Did you hear?
desire.
Yes. Did you hear the song too?
I did listen to it. Yes. Yes, it was lovely. I hadn't heard it before. The one that you
When I heard, yes. Like I was like, it's genius. Doing everything, and then it's some kind of labor to women that they are doing so much for men, and still they said that women can't do anything or this and that. Like, I don't
remind
know.
us the name of the song and the artist.
Song name is, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. For a second, I couldn't.
Yes, its name is Labor.
Liberty?
No, only Labor.
Okay. And
Yeah.
who's the
It is like,
artist?
okay, I don't remember her name. Diana something. Diana, and I'm very bad at remembering names.
I'll look it up. I'll
I
look it up
only
while we're
know
talking.
one word, and like she is genius. And this song is it now? It was like it was on YouTube, I think 2 years ago, but now because of this trend, it is again trending. So this is good thing.
Okay. Let's see. I'm looking for
It
your
is
story.
Paris Paloma.
Okay. Paris Paloma. All right. Well, I feel I have to say that just personally, I'm tired because my granddaughter has been in the hospital for 21 days. And I know Mooney is also tired because her baby is sick and she's been to the hospital a couple of times. And
Yeah.
so I haven't got that lively spark of energy that
I'll just go.
how
Like,
are you feeling?
yeah, I've been out since morning. I just got back,
Oh,
and it's yeah.
so we're all a little bit low energy today, and
Yeah.
we also are missing two people I was hoping would help carry the
And
child.
I'm also trying to like think of what can be done. But like you said, honestly, like feel like there's like so many avenues have been explored, so many things. Like people try to protect their kids. Sometimes it's helps, sometimes it does not. Like the change honestly has to come from the adults. Like you cannot put the power in the hands of the children. Like yeah, they are bad people, but oh, like it's there's like so many things have been done already. Like we have been teaching kids to say no. You know, for example, in my culture, we have a culture of respect. And I feel like that's one of the reasons
Yeah.
why we have the child molestation issue over here, because of the serious cultural respect we have over here. So it's like anything an adult says, you have to respect that. Like this is your uncle, this is your auntie or whatever. So whatever they say, you have to do. And you going against anything they say is going to be seen as disrespect, like you talking back at them or anything. So kids, you give like give they don't teach kids to think critically. So they just so when you raise a kid with that mindset and they are faced with something like that, it's very easy for them to be taken advantage of by adults because they feel like, oh, this person knows better. And yeah, so this thing they're doing to them might be right or whatever. When I say the change has
Yes.
to from the men and the women who are pedophiles, you cannot just put the power in the hands of. And I personally do not have any story of being molested as a child, and that is I had a very sheltered childhood. I have very paranoid parents. Like my dad is very protective. I never even went to relatives' houses for holidays. Never, ever. So he
Oh,
does my dad does not trust anybody. So we
interesting.
and I grew up in a fenced house. I had a very sheltered childhood. I went to like so like and those things that also have its own disadvantages, honestly, because I grew up very sheltered. And you cannot expect everybody to cage their kids the same way. So
Hmm.
the change has to come from the adults, the men, the women who feel they can molest
Yes.
children.
Well, I think it's interesting when you say that the respect culture contributes to it. I just recently read a story that um, was saying successful
Sorry.
people. Now, of course, everybody's definition of success is different, but this story was saying that something they have in common is that they don't accept the status quo. They don't just automatically accept what is told to them. They think critically. And I think teaching our children that instead of teaching them respect
Yeah,
is,
instead of teaching them respect, yeah,
I mean, you
like
want to have some
it
respect, but
would be timid, like they would have problems speaking up. But like if you train them to like have opinions, like instead of training the child to just be a yes or a no child, like train them to have opinions, to ask questions. So when they face something like that, they would be able to speak up. Because like my culture where honestly, we do not raise kids who are able to speak up. Like it's very rare. Like it takes very intentional parenting to raise kids over here who ask questions, who do not just take everything that is given to them. And it's just the culture of respect, honestly.
and
Because
respect.
as a young person, you should not be speaking back to an adult at any point. Like, so you just, as long as the person is older than you, just have to take whatever they give to you, even if you do not like it.
And it's so tricky again because of course you don't want disrespectful children, but at the same time, right?
It's too much over here.
Yes.
Like, I'm from a different place, but I grew up in Lagos, which has the Yoruba culture. And yeah, the girls kneel down to greet adults and the boys prostrate. So like the culture of respect over here is extreme.
Wow,
So girls
yeah.
Yes, so the girls kneel to greet, the guys prostrate, like lie down on the floor. So the cultural respect over here is quite extreme, like just to show you the level we are. So yeah.
That's interesting. And here we don't have that at all. And we kind of raise the children up. The children get whatever they want, and you end up with some unruly children who don't, who,
Yeah, yeah,
who,
we're very timid kids, which is quite terrible.
which is easier as a parent or a teacher to manage timid children. But you actually, if you want your children to grow up to be strong, you don't want them to be
I
timid,
don't want to,
right?
yeah.
So it's hard to find the right balance. I mean,
Yeah.
I did read that the UK, I mean, this whole kind of, I think it's related, this whole incel culture, this we hate women culture, which is online and affecting young people, young men and women. It's new, but when I first heard of an incel, which was maybe 15 years ago, I was like, wow, that's so creepy, that's so horrible. I can't imagine such a thing. And now it's sort of like mainstream, like boys who are on the internet and girls too are exposed to these kinds of ideas that women should be exploited and that they're evil or bad and it's okay to take advantage of them. None of those things, I never heard any of those things growing up. So, I mean, it's not only girl children getting exploited, or
I
getting
believe
abused, but I feel that ties into it also. And in the UK, I just read they're starting to push a curriculum in school to reduce the misogyny. The misogyny's just gotten stronger and
I
stronger.
watched that series Adolescence.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, it's a UK, it was made in the UK, it was filmed like in the UK. I found it so I found it so bizarre because I don't know what the school I don't know what school system is like for kids of that age anymore. But yeah, it's honestly not like that over here. And I don't know
Good.
if movie did depict it properly, but over here it's not as extreme. Like I found it so extreme the way it was shown in the movie, like for them in the UK. So I'm glad I
Which
put it.
which part which part was extreme? What they found online or what they were
What
like
they
in
show,
school?
like the way boys, like very young boys, are expected to be able to like I don't know. It's like they're supposed to. The main actor, that's Jamie. I think he was 13. I think he was 13 years old, and at 13 was expected to be able to approach girls. He was expected to like boys by other boys. He was expected to know about sex and all of that, and he was getting bullied because they saw him as not man enough or whatever. So the incel and misogyny culture over there is honestly quite extreme, if that's how it is in the movie, like if it was actually accurate.
I think it was. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't fiction. I know
Yeah.
it wasn't, but the author talked about trying to examine the current culture. I think it was true to
Yeah,
the
that's it.
culture. I think you have to in this environment, in this internet environment, you have to explicitly teach feminism and anti-misogyny, or else they're going to get that. They get
I want
that online.
I would, sorry for cutting you, but it's not the same over. I wonder if purity culture has anything to do with it. Because
Hmm.
I feel like over there children are allowed to date, and over here children are not allowed to date at all. So when you hear of stories of Like children are not told about sex, both male and female. Like they are not expected to know anything about that. So when you hear stories of like rape and child molestation and all of that, when you hear stories of rape over here, it's always from like adults, men. I don't think I've ever heard anyone from like younger children, younger boys.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I mean, on another episode, we talked about whether purity culture actually protects women, and
Mm.
it sounded like it doesn't really. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's such a big, massive problem. It's hard to figure out. What are you thinking, Muniba?
I think that education is very important. I think giving children's education, like you are saying that they're having in school feminism and this and that, it is very important. But also, I think that it should, like when children see something in their houses, they did what they see in their home more than, like, I don't know. When I know personally a family where the father is very disrespectful to his wife, and this is very normal in this culture, like slapping their wife and abusing her at anything, like verbally or like when we slap, like slap is something like I did write an article about it. The slap one is only slap. What, like it is only slap, but it is like in our culture. So when children see this type of thing, they like grow up and they do things like this. And my father is doing this. This is fine that I do this. So I think we to do these type of education. Mother should have is son, like how to respect women, and father should do this too. Like when he start respecting his wife, his daughter, then son will do this same thing. And same of this for the sex education. We have to teach them that what is like good things and bad things. And when they find it on porn, it is some other level of disaster when they do it. Like like recently I read a story on boy killing his wife, inserting things into her vagina. Boy was like 16 years old and she was 14-year-old, and they got married at this young age, and sex education and all. And it's like sort of you when some people do this kind of thing, like adults have to give them education. And also about like respect culture and this, I think now this is good time to say this, like it is season in every part of country and world. Like there are many holidays coming, Christmas and um, Onka, and I don't know, in 1 month or two there will be Parsi fun cultural thing, Nowruz, and all of this thing. So we have to teach adults to respect kids too. When they say no for to hug, no to kiss, please say okay. Don't force them. That go and give your aunt a hug and go give your uncle a kiss. It will show them that their no have no meaning. It is some kind of teaching them that no is like something like it can be negotiable, but it's not. No means no. It is not for like no. No cannot be turned to yes when it comes to your uncle and auntie. When you say no, it means no. So we as adults should teach them this. I think it go like long way when someone really is hurting them and they said no and they know that I'm saying no and he is forcing me. It is not a good thing. Do it in our own. And they are saying no and we are forcing them, no, go and hug them, no, go and kiss them. They no have no meaning. I think we as adults should take responsibility to teach ourselves too than our kids.
Yes, I like that. I like that idea. You don't have to hug, you don't have to kiss your relatives at the holidays if you don't want to.
Yes.
And
If you don't.
That's part of bodily
It is,
autonomy.
yes, it's not something to disrespect, like for adults. We are not disrespecting them. We should teach them too that we are not disrespecting them. Teach them that if you don't want to hug them, let's do high five. Tell them that high five is good. Tell them that handshake is good. We don't have to kiss and hug. Like, don't be disrespectful, but also you don't have to do this thing. You don't have to hug or kiss or be physical at any point if you don't want to. It's not about respect and disrespect.
It reminds me, I've read a lot of stories by Al Bow, who talks about, instead of the patriarchy, she talks about a dominance hierarchy. So where one person is more important than another person. And I think this is true, that causes a lot of problems, including parent and child. You do want to protect them from harm, but you don't want to teach them that my opinion is better than yours, I'm more important than you, you need to do what I say, or what any adult says. I think if we could somehow change the mindset so that all people have value, have equal value, which we do, I believe, spiritually. I mean, sure, some people are richer than other people, but I don't think that alters their human value. I think each human has equal value as a living being and should be respected equally, including children, including women, including gay people or people of other cultures, etc. You know, this whole idea that some group is this whole supremacy idea that we're better than you, and so we get to say, that's got to go. That needs to go. And it's hard to get rid of because people at the top don't want to give it up. But you know what? I feel that it also harms them because I find people in that dominant position are very rarely happy. You know, if you look at, for example, Donald Trump in the US, I never see him looking relaxed, joyful, enjoying himself. He's always angry. He's always wants to hurt someone. I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
He's always on the attack, like he's always like trying to defend himself.
So he always feels threatened, attacked, and he's always responding to that. And that's not a kind of life I want to live. I don't want to be a monster. I don't want to be a victim. I want to be in connection with other people. That's what brings me happiness. And I think it brings most people happiness, you know. I think if psychologically maybe they talk about the origins of Donald Trump being unloved and his father was cruel and this and that, so he never learned that there's great reward in friendship and being kind and but I think that's very rewarding, and if we could somehow communicate that, maybe there would be less of these terrible crimes against women, against children, against gay people, etc. This whole need to hold up the hierarchy and stay on top, I think also makes people unhappy. It's just a trick somehow. This idea that this is going to make you happy.
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
What else?
And in Pakistan, there is something like they said that don't leave your daughters outside in streets and this and that. It is not good and this and that. Also, there are so many cases when boys are also molested. There is like of culture. They said it is like I don't like it is very scary for me because I am very sensitive on this type of topics. It is called bazi. Like bacha means kid and bazi means playing with kid.
Playing with kid?
Playing with boy or kid. They like take from 7 years to 12-year boy, and it is like some kind of prostitute for them. They do things through him, like every kinds of, and it is very like very normal. Like it is kind of joke. Like, when there is some like with boy with cheeks and like we call it golu, like is like healthy kid when someone see them, and they said that oh, protect him, he is going to be victim of bachchabadi. And people literally laugh, ah ha ha, yeah, like it is not scary for them. Like one kid is being molested, he don't know good, and I personally know someone. He told me like my friend is doing this, and I said I complain about it. He said, why is taking money? He is happy too. Like he is only 7 years old or 8 years old or 9 years old. He don't know anything about it. You are like your friend is 30 plus. Talk some sense into him. Like, it is not good. And he is giving him money to do things to him. Like, it is so scary and so sad that our society is protecting them at some level. That they are
So
saying that,
is
oh,
so is homosexuality okay in your
yeah,
country?
no. And think is no. When one
That's
finds that someone homosexual, they are like, oh, what are you doing? It is haram. And when it comes to bachabazi, they are saying
so
that is also
they
sexual.
think abusing a young boy is not an act of homosexuality.
Yes, something like this.
Wow.
And it is like something like very normal for truck drivers. They take kids with them, and they did kind of things to them. And there was all documentary about them. And they said that we can't take our wives. So we are tired. We need some sexual act to ease our mind. That's why we are taking this boys with us, and this teenage boys. And when they ask why not take your wife with you, take your wife with you, they said, no, it is not in our culture. It is not in our deen to take our wives. Everyone will look at them. It is not good for their parda, their hijab. Like, think of, like, people, like some people are thinking things like that, and people are saying this is normal. This is like something they have to do. I don't know.
Wow. Well, it just seems like an overwhelming issue and one that's hard to solve, like all of them. Um, this abuse of children, but it sounds like we kind of agree that um, we need to empower the children. We need to teach
One,
them
I
to.
have one last thing to say on this
Mhm.
issue of child marriage, because it's illegal over here, but we have the north, the south, the east, the west, and the northern part of the country, they like some parts of the north have Sharia law. So it's kind of odd making like a federal law and then them following it. So we have like child marriage is illegal, but it's illegal, but like for the northerners, they do not care, basically. Because according to them, like they said, once a child reaches puberty, the child is mature, I guess. And recently, you would think that because it's like part of the law that child marriage is illegal, like states would not have. There was a there was a mass wedding recently. I think that was last month or last upper month of orphaned girls, like orphaned girls, like girls without parents. I think there were like over 100 of them, and we're underage. And instead of like empowering the children who lost their parents, the only thing is the government could think of doing was marrying them up to random men. And it was so bizarre, and like people just accepted that and they got married. And it was broadcasted live on TV. Over a
Wow.
hundred of girls.
Oh
So,
my.
and obviously they're not getting married to children, they're getting married to grown men.
Hmm. Instead of getting
And
adopted and
Yes,
getting
instead of
parents.
yes, even still empowering them in some kind of way, like they should go to school, learn skills or something. The best form of empowerment they could think of was marriage. And there was one that should have happened because we have an insecurity issue. So a lot of kids do get orphaned, especially in the northern part of the country. There was one that was stopped last year, still same mass wedding of underage girls. So I don't know why they cannot think of something better to do for the little girls than to marry them all.
Yes, yes, that's insane. Oh, well, we don't have child marriage very frequently here, as far as I know, but I think,
But just in front of my house last year, we had a marriage. And it was, I think the girl was like 14 years old, and the man was like way older, even had other wives already. So we do have a child marriage issue over here.
mhm, mhm. And it's interesting that you could pass a law and that doesn't matter. It's really the culture that has to change.
Oh, yeah.
Because if they don't uphold the law, if they don't arrest people and take them to
Yeah.
court, then it doesn't even matter. And that's true. That's been true here with rape. You know, it's against the law to rape people, but no one ever gets prosecuted for rape, like 1% or something. So even if the woman gets the courage to go to the police, who then abuse her and ask her inappropriate questions and re-traumatize her, then the rapist still doesn't get any punishment. Maybe the lawyer will say, "Well, I'm not going to take him to court," or maybe the judge will just give a very small sentence, or maybe he'll be found innocent because they don't believe the victim or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, laws are important, but I guess education is more important. And as much as this, I, I feel these conversations we're having are part of that. Um, you know, as much as the internet has promulgated bad ideas, it can also spread good ideas. Um, we just need more people like us talking about them online instead of just all the evil actors talking about hate and harm. We need more people talking
This
about
is,
good things.
yes, this is what we are doing.
Well, I see that
We
we've reached an
we
hour.
yes.
I'm not sure what our topic is going to be next week because I was hoping Suma had planned to come. I don't know what happened, and then I was going to ask her to lead next week. But we began with you, Mooney. Can we ask you to lead
Okay,
next week? And do you have any
okay.
story in mind you'd like to focus on?
You tell me. I want you to tell me that on which story we want to talk.
But we will be back next week, same time, same place. Mooney will lead next time, Muniba, and um, we will post an announcement about it. We'll have to think about which story. I haven't got one at the top of my brain. My brain is a little slow
But
this
my
morning.
point,
We'll discuss it and we'll
I
make
want
an
you to decide.
announcement. Okay, I'll decide, but I can't decide at this second. As I mentioned earlier, my granddaughter's been in the hospital 21 days, and I've been driving to the hospital, which is about an hour or so away,
Oh, wow.
every day, and then driving back. Last night it took an hour and a half to get back because there was so much traffic. Um, so that's why I'm tired, and I know all of us are a little bit tired today, but we'll be back. And the hope is she's getting out today, so please keep her in your thoughts. We're very hopeful she'll
I
be
hope.
released today. So I'm going to quit the live stream and then let's stay on. I think I can quit it and let's stay on and debrief. Do you want to say goodbye?
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Okay. Here we go. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place.